I'm gonna show this video to my therapist. Welcome back! I just woke up from a nap and I had a really weird dream. My ex-boyfriend kept feeding my goldfish rocks and my new boyfriend that doesn't exist was also there, and there were a lot of desserts. But that got me thinking about my dreams. Now, some of you guys may know I'm going on tour! And I'm very excited about it. It's going to be really, really fun. There's going to be a lot of audience participation. You guys get to be a part of the show. There's a lot of your favorite music and dancing, and I'm putting a lot of work and rehearsing into it. And also, I would love to hug all of you. So if you'd like to come to the show, meet me, get a photo, I'm going to leave the information to get a ticket in the description below. I hope to see you there. In the meantime, here's the thing that really, really scares me about tour. This is why I've avoided touring for a very long time, and this was honestly the reason that I almost didn't do this tour. I was this close to not doing it. Every time I have ever slept on a tour bus, I get the most horrifying, bloody, disgusting, heart-wrenching, terrifying, emotionally disruptive, mentally scarring nightmares that you would ever imagine. I can't tell you how many times I've woken up on a tour bus literally screaming my face off, was sure, 100% sure that I was dying, and said goodbye to the world. Like, accepted death, said my prayers, this is it, I'm dying. But I also have really bad nightmares all the time. That's just something that I've always kind of had, and I thought that it was normal. I genuinely thought that every person has nightmares every night. I just thought that was the run-of-the-mill normal thing to do. And I didn't realize until my trip to Tokyo, where I was talking to my friend, talking about this dream I had, and he was like, dude, that's not healthy. You need help. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, people don't normally dream like that. And I was like, oh shit. So apparently not everybody dreams as if it's the 40th sequel to the Saw movie franchise, but I do. And I want to share some of those with you today. I'm gonna share with you first the dream that I had in Tokyo that made me realize, oh, you're not done with therapy yet. Okay, so basically there's all of these girls, right? And they're like, we'll say somewhere between the ages of 15 and 25 are these young women. And this other woman who isn't young, but I don't know how she was taking control of all these girls, but anyway, she's kidnapping all of these girls and she's taking out their eyeballs and she's replacing them with what she calls spinners. So there are these little spheres that are constantly spinning really, really fast. So she rips out their eyeballs, she puts the spinners in the eye sockets, and the spinners just spin really, 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 really fast. And it makes you feel like you're being whipped around. Dizzy, nauseous, sick, ungrounded. So now I have this room of girls, and there's like 50 of them, and they all have these spinning eyeballs. They're screaming, they're crying, they're vomiting everywhere. Is this okay for YouTube? It's horrifying. There's no reason, like I don't know the reason to this. Then there's this other girl, and by the way, I see all my dreams in movies. So when I'm watching it, I'm like watching a movie. And also, I strictly lucid dream. I didn't know that that wasn't normal. I thought that everybody always knew that they were dreaming all the time. So like when I'm dreaming, I know that it's not real. I know that I'm in a dream. I know that I'm watching characters, and I can kind of control some of the events and some of the characters. So this time I'm watching it. I know it's a dream. It's like a movie. This girl sneaks in and she's trying to save the other girl. So she's pretending to be one of the girls with the spinners. So she comes in and she's screaming and she's crying, but then the other girl who had kidnapped all the girls sees her, and for some reason she can tell that she's faking. So then she comes up to her and she says something, I don't remember what it was, and she takes her gun, she shoots her in the head, and then she falls. And as she falls, I get a close-up of her hand. Her hand hits the ground and a key rolls out of her hand. And then the woman comes up and she picks up the key, which is so crazy because I had another dream prior that started with that girl picking up the key off the floor. So my dreams are like movie parts in sequence, and I watch them sort of out of order. It's like watching episodes out of order, essentially. That's how my brain works. It's really pretty dark. Now this dream I actually had on a tour bus, and it shook me so hard emotionally that I had to call off an entire day of what I was doing on tour because I couldn't function as a human being. I was sobbing hysterically about this dream and I couldn't stop, and it was so crazy because I woke up and I was like, that was just a dream, it was just a dream. But the feelings that it embedded into my soul were so intense. When you hear this story, you're just gonna think it's the stupidest thing because I'm telling you, it's so dumb, but it was the feeling that came along with the dream. I don't even know if I should tell you this because I feel like you're gonna make fun of me for being so upset about it. Okay, so there was this little girl and she, for her birthday party, wanted a zoo in the middle of the ocean. And her mom kept saying to her, that's not possible. You can't have a zoo in the middle of the ocean. But the little girl threw a huge fit and she said, I want a zoo in the middle of the ocean. The mom just wanted to make the little girl so happy. So somehow the mom got a zoo in the middle of the ocean. It was set up like these floating buoy type things, and it was like a grid like this, like, okay, there were different paths like this, so you could walk onto the floaty and you could turn right, and here are the lions, and then you can go forward and you can turn left, and here's the panthers. So there's this floating zoo, if you can visualize it. Now there were elephants, and the elephants were a little bit too heavy, so the zookeepers were trying, well, would they be like zookeepers or would they be more of like, I don't know, but they're trying to get the elephant to float. So this is all being held up by rope. So there's people on either end of the big floaty zoo thing pulling the ropes like this, trying to get the elephant to stay afloat. And the elephant keeps like slipping and almost falling. And then somebody will let go of the rope and the whole thing will shift and the elephant will kind of sink in the water and his foot will go in and the elephant starts screaming. But they're like, no, it's fine, we got this. And then all of a sudden the rope completely snaps. The entire, I'm gonna get emotional, the entire part of that zoo just completely collapses underwater and the elephant, the elephant sinks to the bottom of the ocean and it's like flailing around and screaming. And I can like hear the elephant screaming and I swear I could feel its suffocation. And I could feel its fear. I'm right up underwater with it. I'm watching it drown. And then the mom jumps off the zoo, swims to the bottom, grabs the elephant by the trunk and is trying her best to pull up this elephant. And she's just and obviously she can't because it's a fucking elephant. And then the elephant just starts like twitching and then it dies and then it just sinks. And then the mom came up and she's just broken. She's sobbing, everyone's sobbing, elephant's dead. And then I woke up screaming and legitimately just torrential downpour of tears. I don't know what it was because like, I mean, obviously it's sad, but for me to be that upset about this dream, I'm just telling you, the feelings that I felt during the dream were just raw, pure, true feelings of pain and loss and death. And it was like a mother just lost her child. And I felt that pain as if like my child died. And I cried for the entire day, that night. Anytime I thought about the dream, like I literally talked about this dream in therapy and sobbed hysterically talking about it. In fact, this is the first time I've told this story without crying hysterically. But yeah, pretty tragic. Okay, moving on. I had this one dream one time. Actually, I had this one dream all the time where I'm in a murder house and I keep running, but because I lucid dream and I can dream control, I made sure that I never died, but I was still always being chased and I always had that anxiety of being chased. And then I ran into a tool shed and the tool shed was completely filled with like hanging body parts and dead animals, mostly toads. And then I ran out and I went to jump into the lake because I was gonna swim away from the murder house, and the entire lake was just filled with blood and dismembered body parts. Wow. For a really long time, I had really bad PTSD from my car accident. I had a dream pretty much every night where somebody else would be driving and we'd get in this really bad car accident, and then I would watch a member of my family die every night. And the one that just ruined my entire life was, I have a baby brother. His name is Sam. Hi, Sammy. And at the time he was probably like 1 or 2. And I remember the car accident. We were in the Pittsburgh tunnel and we started bouncing across the tunnel. And then we spun out. My dad was in the front seat and he was fine. He's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm okay. I turned around and I looked and I just watched like his little baby body just die. This video is getting so so much darker than I thought it was going to. I also had this dream when I was younger where I was in this really weird town where there was this really big blobby guy. He kind of looked like Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars, and I don't know what his deal was or why he was there. I don't remember that part of the story, but I'm walking through this town and I'm looking for my family and I'm like, yo, mom, where are you at? And then I looked in the center of the town and there was this group of people in a circle and I was just like, oh, what's going on over here? And then I went to the circle and I looked up and there was this floating decapitated body. That's when you're missing a head, right? Headless body just floating in the air. This is getting worse for me, isn't it? Whew. I think the most recurring dream that I have a lot of teeth dreams where my teeth feel like they're falling out, or they're shifting, or they're moving, or they're rubbery and I can't bite anything. That's a big one. And then I also have a dream of these two people, and this is the most recurring dream I have. I'm like itching my leg over here. There's these two people, a boy and a girl, but they have the exact same face, but it's like a weird googly cartoon face almost, but it's a real face. You know what I mean? And it has this really big smile and just like these big goofy googly eyes. And I'll just be sitting eating lunch or dinner, and they'll just like pop up as I'm trying to just relax, and they'll just be laughing at me, like laughing in my face. And I get really mad, and then I'll try to hit them, and then they disappear. And then I'm like, it's good. And all of a sudden they pop up somewhere else and they're laughing at me. So then I chase them, and as soon as I hit them, they disappear again. And then they pop up right behind me, and I turn around and they're laughing at me. So I take like a 2x4, which magically appeared in my hands, and I swing it at them, and then they disappear right as I'm about to hit them. And then they just like keep popping up. I'm always simultaneously chasing them and running from them, but they're always in my dreams, and it drives me insane. And I'm gonna end this with my very first nightmare that I remember. And it's not like bloody or scary really. Ooh, I just remembered another. One time I had a dream that my cousin had these really evil red eyes and fangs, and he was hiding under my bed, and he kept trying to bite me. But that's not my first nightmare. My first nightmare that I remember was my family and I used to go on walks all the time down the street and just around the corner, and there's this little park. So we're walking up the street and we make a left. I could do it literally with my eyes closed. I've walked this path so many times, and all of a sudden it was somewhere that I didn't know, and it was just so much longer and bigger than I thought. And then all at once my family grabbed me, threw me to the ground, like pushed me away from them, pointed at me and started laughing at me, and then booked it down the street, and I couldn't catch up with them because I was just a little girl and I had little legs. I just sat in the middle of the street completely alone, surrounded by nobody, had no idea where I was, and I just sat and I cried in the middle of the street. And abandonment issues? Anyway, I genuinely, this is for real, not just saying this, want to see in the comments your weirdest / scariest dreams. Can you relate to any of these dreams at all? Do you think I'm a psychopath? Also, hey, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Want to see me on tour? Check out the link in the description. I'm very excited about it. As always, thank you for watching. I love you very much. Thanks for being a part of my family, and I'll see you next time.
Dream, 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 dream when I want you in my arms, when I want you. All I have to do is dream.